Chosen one, why can't you breathe right today? Why does your chest feel like someone's pressing down on it with invisible hands? Why did you wake up at exactly 3:17 a.m. again, with your heart pounding like you just ran a marathon in your sleep? And why? Why does your own body feel like it belongs to someone else? Listen to me carefully. If you're watching this on Thursday, the 20th of November 2025, and something in your physical frame feels off, if your spine won't settle, if your ears are ringing with frequencies you can't explain, if your bones ache with a heaviness that no doctor can diagnose, you need to understand something that will shatter everything you thought you knew about what's happening to you right now. Your body isn't breaking down, it's being broken open. I'm talking to the 8-year-old woman in Ohio who hasn't slept through the night in 2 weeks. I'm talking to the 4-year-old man in Texas whose knees suddenly hurt worse than they have in years, but only since last Friday. I'm talking to every chosen one who's been told by their physician, your tests came back normal, while your body screams that nothing is normal. Here's the truth they won't tell you in any medical journal. November 20 is not a regular Thursday. The spiritual atmosphere shifted 3 days ago when Mercury stationed direct. And what you're feeling in your flesh right now is your spirit trying to communicate something your mind refuses to hear. Your body has become a cathedral under renovation. And right now, this very second, the scaffolding is everywhere. The floors are shifting, and you can feel the reconstruction happening in real time. That pressure in your chest, that's not anxiety, that's divine recalibration. Those 3 a.m. awakenings, that's not insomnia, that's heaven rewiring your internal frequency. That strange posture discomfort, that cognitive fog, that emotional weight you can't shake, beloved, that's not aging, that's activation. Before we go deeper, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let the Spirit lead your heart. But right now, if any part of your body has been acting strange this week, if you recognize even one symptom I just described, type, "I feel it" in the comments. Don't scroll past this. Another chosen one needs to see they're not losing their mind. Because what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes will explain the exact spiritual reason why your body feels like it's not your body today. And, beloved, once you understand why, everything changes. How long have you been running on fumes without even knowing it? How many years have you moved through your days like a ghost in your own life, going through motions you don't remember choosing? And when was the last time you actually felt your body instead of just dragging it from room to room? Dear one, something happened to you this week that you haven't put words to yet. But your body knows. Oh, your body knows. For decades, maybe your entire adult life, you've been operating on what I call divine autopilot. You didn't have to think about how you stood, how you sat, how you breathed. Your body just did it. Muscle memory, habit. The faithful machinery of flesh that kept you upright while your mind wandered through grocery lists and grandchildren's birthdays and medical appointments you can't seem to keep straight anymore. But 3 days ago, when Mercury stationed direct and the spiritual atmosphere shifted, something unprecedented happened in the invisible realm. God reached down and flipped a switch you didn't know existed. He shut off your autopilot. And suddenly, you're noticing everything. That slouch in your shoulders you've carried since 1987 when your husband got sick. The way you've been holding your jaw tight for so many years, your dentist thinks you need a night guard. The shallow breathing that's become so normal you forgot what a deep breath even feels like. The tension in your lower back that you've explained away as just getting old for the last 15 years. But here's what I need you to understand, beloved. This isn't aging. This is awakening. Your body isn't malfunctioning. Your body is finally reporting. It's been trying to tell you something for years, maybe decades, but you've been too busy surviving to listen. You've been on autopilot for so long that you forgot there was a manual mode. You forgot that your body is not just a vehicle you're stuck in. Until you get to heaven, it's a temple, a holy dwelling place, a sacred communication system between your spirit and the divine. Think about the pilot light in an old furnace. For years it just burns small, steady, unnoticed. But when it goes out and someone has to relight it, there's that moment of ignition, that whoosh, that sudden awareness that something which had been quietly working in the background is now demanding your full attention. That's what's happening to you right now. God is relighting your pilot light. And it's uncomfortable because you've been numb for so long that feeling anything at all feels like too much. In Psalm 139:14, David declares, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Fearfully. That word in Hebrew means with reverent awe. Your body was designed with such intricate precision that even God approaches it with reverence. Every nerve ending, every muscle fiber, every bone in your spine, it's all connected to a divine communication network that's been trying to reach you. But you've been too busy being strong. Too busy being the rock everyone else leans on. Too busy pretending you're fine when your body has been screaming that nothing is fine. How long have you carried pain without words, dear one? How many nights did your body say what your mouth could not? How many mornings did you wake up already exhausted because your flesh was processing trauma your mind refused to acknowledge? That knot in your stomach when the phone rings and it's one of your kids. Your body remembering the last crisis, the last call for money, the last time you had to choose between their emergency and your medication. That tightness in your chest when you check your bank balance. Your body holding the memory of every financial scare, every bill you juggled, every month you made it work when the math said it was impossible. Your body has been keeping score. And now, on this threshold day of the 20th of November 2025, God is saying, enough. It's time to pay attention. See, when you're on autopilot, you can ignore the warnings. You can push through the pain. You can tell yourself you'll deal with it later, after you finish raising the kids, after you retire, after things settle down. But autopilot mode has an expiration date. And beloved, yours just expired. This is why you suddenly can't get comfortable in your chair. Why you're shifting your weight every few minutes. Why you can't find a position that doesn't hurt. Why sleep has become this elusive thing that used to come so naturally. Your body is no longer willing to be ignored. It's demanding that you finally listen. And there's a reason this is happening today, of all days. Thursday, the 20th of November 2025, isn't just another date on the calendar. This is what the ancients would have called a kairos moment, a divine appointment where the eternal breaks into the temporal and says, now, not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, I need your attention. But why now? Why, after all these years of your body suffering in silence, has God chosen this specific Thursday to shut off your autopilot and force you to feel everything you've been avoiding? The answer is going to shake you to your core. You know what nobody talks about? The way your body suddenly coughs right after you tell a lie. The sharp flip in your stomach the moment you think an unkind thought about someone. The sneeze that comes out of nowhere when you're avoiding a conversation you know you need to have. You've noticed this, haven't you? You thought it was random. You thought it was just your aging body acting up again. But what if I told you that your physical frame has been keeping a record of every spiritual compromise you've made this year? And right now, on the 20th of November 2025, it's reading that record back to you one sensation at a time. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. Your body isn't malfunctioning, it's testifying. Let me tell you about something heaven has been whispering to me for weeks now. There's a phenomenon happening in the spiritual realm that most believers don't understand. I call it micro-karma, but it's so much deeper than that New Age term could ever capture. These are divine receipts, small, physical reactions that carry massive spiritual meaning. That random shiver that ran down your spine yesterday when you drove past your neighbor's house, the one you've been avoiding because of that unresolved conflict. That wasn't the air conditioning. That was your spirit recognizing unfinished business. That sudden tightness in your throat when you started to complain about your adult children. That wasn't acid reflux. That was the Holy Spirit gently closing your mouth before you spoke curses over your own bloodline. Your body has become a living prophet, and it's speaking in a language you've been ignoring. Numbers 32-23 says something that should shake you to your core. Be sure your sins will find you out. Not might find you out, not could find you out, will find you out. And beloved, they're finding you out right now through your own flesh. Every idle word, every hidden resentment, every whispered criticism you thought nobody heard, your body heard it. Your cells recorded it. Your nervous system filed it away. And now it's all coming to the surface. Think about this for a moment. How many times this week have you had a sharp pain in your lower back right when you were about to judge someone? How many times has your head started pounding when you were dwelling on bitterness? How many sudden stomach cramps have hit you when you were about to speak gossip disguised as concern? These aren't coincidences, dear one. These are interventions. Jesus said in Matthew 12:36, I tell you, on the day of judgment people will give account for every careless word they speak. But what if judgment doesn't just wait for the afterlife? What if your body is holding you accountable right now, in real time, before those words even leave your mouth? Your body is reading back the fine print of your year, one sensation at a time. I'm talking to someone right now who's been carrying unforgiveness in their heart for 18 months. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That person who hurt you. That family member who betrayed you. That friend who walked away without explanation. And every single time their name crosses your mind, something in your body reacts. Your jaw clenches, your shoulders tighten, your chest constricts. You thought that was just stress. But what if it's something far more sacred? What if your body is trying to tell you that holding on to that pain is literally poisoning your physical frame? Here's what they don't teach you in church. Your body is more spiritually sensitive than your mind. Your mind can rationalize, your mind can justify, your mind can make excuses. But your body tells the truth. It can't lie, it won't pretend. When you're out of alignment with God's will, your flesh knows it before your brain admits it. That's why you sneeze when you're avoiding emotional truth. That's why you cough when you're about to speak against someone. That's why you shiver when you walk past places or people connected to your spiritual compromise. Your body is trying to protect you from yourself. Listen to what I'm about to tell you, because this is going to change everything. Your body isn't betraying you. Your body is protecting you. Every little physical reaction you've experienced this week, every twinge, every ache, every mysterious discomfort that made you wonder if you should call your doctor, it's all been your flesh trying to get your attention before you make a mistake your spirit will regret. Proverbs 20:27 declares, "The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his innermost parts." Your innermost parts, beloved. Your organs, your bones, your blood. God has turned your entire physical body into a spiritual detection system, and right now, on this November Thursday, that system is operating at maximum sensitivity. You can't hide from yourself anymore. You can't pretend that thought doesn't matter. You can't convince yourself that holding on to that grudge isn't affecting you. Because your body is telling you the truth every single moment of every single day. That flutter in your chest, that's not heart palpitations. That's your spirit trying to speak. That pressure behind your eyes, that's not a migraine coming on. That's suppressed tears that need to be released. That heaviness in your legs, that's not just aging. That's the weight of paths you know you shouldn't be walking down. Your body knows what your mind refuses to acknowledge. If this is resonating with you right now, if you're finally connecting the dots between your physical sensations and your spiritual state, type "My body knows" in the comments. You're not alone in this. There are thousands of chosen ones right now discovering that their flesh has been trying to guide them back to righteousness all along. But here's the urgent question you need to answer before we go any deeper. If your body has been keeping a record of every spiritual compromise, every unspoken truth, every avoided conversation, what happens when that record becomes too heavy to carry? You know what's been driving you crazy this week, chosen one? It's not just your body acting strange. It's your mouth, your words, the way everything you try to say comes out. Wrong. You had a conversation with your daughter yesterday, didn't you? You wanted to tell her you love her, that you're proud of her, that you miss seeing her more often. But what came out? Something that sounded critical, something that made her pull away. And you stood there thinking, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant at all. Or maybe it was your husband, your wife. You tried to express something deep, something important, and the words felt like they got stuck in your throat, like there was a dam between your heart and your mouth, and everything that made it through came out small, flat, empty. Listen to me carefully. You are not losing your ability to communicate. You are not developing dementia. You are not becoming that bitter old person you swore you'd never be. What's happening is far more profound than that. Your spirit is speaking faster than your mouth can translate. Think about this for a moment. For 70, 80, maybe 90 years, you've been using the same language, the same words, the same patterns of speech. But something shifted 3 days ago when Mercury stationed direct, and suddenly the frequency of your spirit has been upgraded. It's operating at a higher vibration now, and your physical voice, it's still trying to catch up. This is why conversations feel heavier than they should. This is why a simple "how are you doing" feels loaded with meaning you can't articulate. This is why you keep replaying conversations in your head at 2 a.m., thinking, I should have said it differently. Why didn't the right words come? Because, beloved, your heart is carrying revelation that the English language wasn't designed to hold. Jesus himself spoke about this mystery in Matthew 12:34. He said, "Out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks." But what happens when the abundance in your heart has become so vast, so deep, so divinely expanded that your mouth simply cannot keep pace? You end up with what the Apostle Paul described in Romans 8:26. The Spirit intercedes for us with groanings that cannot be uttered. Not will not be uttered. Cannot be uttered. There are some things your spirit is carrying right now that human language has no container for. And I know what you're feeling. I know because I've heard it from thousands of chosen ones just like you. You feel misunderstood. You feel like nobody really hears you anymore. You try to share what's burning in your chest, and people look at you with polite confusion. Your grandchildren smile and nod, but you can see it in their eyes. They think you're rambling. Your friends from church change the subject. Even your spouse of 50 years seems to miss what you're really trying to say. But here's what I need you to understand with every fiber of your being. This communication disruption is not a breakdown. It's a breakthrough trying to happen. You're not losing your mind. Your spirit is outgrowing your vocabulary. For decades, you've been able to articulate your faith in neat little packages. God is good. I'm blessed. I trust the Lord. Simple, clear, comfortable. But something has shifted in you recently, hasn't it? The old words don't fit anymore. The old phrases feel like children's clothes on an adult body. Too tight, too small, too shallow for what you're actually experiencing. That frustration you feel when you can't explain what God is doing in you. That's not failure, dear one. That's proof that you've moved into a realm where words become obsolete and presence becomes everything. Moses felt this. When God called him from the burning bush, Moses said, "I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue." Exodus 4:10. But God didn't fix Moses' mouth. He told him, "I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall speak." The issue was never Moses' ability to talk. The issue was that he was being asked to communicate divine revelation through human language. That's you right now. You're standing at your own burning bush, and God is asking you to speak things that your mouth was never trained to say, to articulate experiences that your generation was taught to keep quiet about, to give voice to a spiritual awakening that the religious people around you might not even recognize. And the reason it feels so hard, the reason your words keep falling short, is because you're in transition. You're shedding the old language of religion and stepping into the new language of relationship. You're moving from second-hand faith into first-hand encounter, and that shift always comes with temporary speechlessness. But here's the urgency you need to feel right now. This communication disruption is not random. It's strategic. It's the first sign of what God is releasing later tonight. Because when your old language dies, chosen one, it's because your new assignment requires a new tongue. And what you cannot say with words right now, you are about to demonstrate with power. The question burning in heaven right now is this: will you trust the silence long enough to let God rewrite your voice? You know what's breaking my heart right now? It's the thousands of you sitting there, exhausted beyond words, convinced something is medically wrong with you because you can't sleep like you used to. Let me ask you something that's going to cut straight to your soul. When was the last time you slept through an entire night? When was the last time you woke up feeling rested instead of feeling like you've been traveling somewhere your mind can't remember? Because here's what's really happening, chosen one, and this is going to shake you to your core. Your sleep isn't broken, your spirit is being activated. For the last 2 weeks, maybe 3, you've been waking up at the exact same time. Not 2:45, not 3:30, but somewhere between 2:59 and 3:15 inches the morning. Your eyes snap open like someone called your name. Your heart is racing. Your mind is alert but foggy at the same time. And you lie there in the darkness, wondering what's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you, beloved. Something is right with you. Listen to me carefully. In 1 Samuel 3, there was a young boy named Samuel sleeping in the temple. 3 times God called his name in the night. 3 times Samuel woke up, confused, thinking it was the priest Eli calling him. But it wasn't Eli. It was the voice of the Almighty breaking through the veil between the natural and the supernatural, calling Samuel into his prophetic destiny. You think you have insomnia, but what if God is calling your name? What if those 3 a.m. awakenings aren't disruptions but divine appointments? What if your spirit is being summoned to a place your flesh can't follow? What if, while your body lies in that bed, your eternal self is walking through corridors of revelation that will reshape your entire future? You see, there's a reason why the Bible is filled with nighttime encounters. Jacob wrestled with an angel until daybreak and walked away with a limp and a new name. Genesis 32 tells us he fought in the darkness because some transformations can only happen when the world is asleep and the spirit is awake. Moses met God in a burning bush, but it was after 40 years of wandering in the wilderness, tending sheep under starlit skies. Daniel received his greatest visions at night. Joseph's dreams came in sleep. Paul was caught up to the 3rd heaven, in a vision so profound he couldn't tell if he was in his body or out of it. The night isn't your enemy, chosen one. The night is your classroom. But here's where it gets even deeper. Some of you aren't just waking up at 3 a.m. You're experiencing something far more unsettling. Your sleep has become shallow, like you're floating just beneath the surface of consciousness. You're not fully asleep, but you're not fully awake either. You exist in this strange in-between place where minutes feel like hours and hours disappear like seconds. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're having dreams so vivid, so intense, so real, that when you wake up, you can still taste them. You can still feel them. You can still see faces you've never seen before, and hear voices speaking languages your mind doesn't know but your spirit understands. And then there are those of you who aren't dreaming at all anymore. The dream world went silent. The technicolor visions stopped, and now your nights are just black, empty, void. Do you know why? Because God is clearing the channel. He's wiping the screen clean. He's removing every distraction, every old pattern, every familiar frequency, so he can install something new. Psalm 4:8 says, "In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety." But sometimes, before the peace comes, there must be disruption. Before the new download, there must be deletion. Your spirit is walking while your body is sleeping, because something is being rewritten about your future. Think about this. When a computer updates its operating system, what happens? The screen goes dark. The programs shut down. Everything stops. And for a while, it looks like the whole system is broken. But it's not broken. It's being upgraded. It's being prepared for functions the old software could never handle. That's you right now. Your spiritual operating system is being upgraded, and your body is experiencing the side effects of a divine installation. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. He's been whispering lies in your ear every morning at 3-7 a.m. You're losing your mind. You're getting old. Your health is failing. You need medication. You need help. Something is seriously wrong. Stop listening to that voice. In Exodus 14:24, the Bible tells us that during the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire. The last watch, the darkest hour, the moment right before dawn, when everything feels most hopeless. That's when God shows up. You're not deteriorating, beloved. You're being positioned. Those sleepless nights aren't punishment. They're preparation. That floating sensation you feel when you finally drift off, that's not a symptom. That's your spirit learning to navigate realms your natural mind can't comprehend. And that emotional fatigue you carry all day, that heaviness that makes you want to weep for no reason, that's because you've been fighting battles in the spirit realm that your conscious mind will never remember, but your body absorbs the weight of. You are a spiritual warrior whether you know it or not. And warriors don't get 8 hours of uninterrupted rest during wartime. If you've been waking between 2:59 and 3:15 a.m., if you recognize yourself in every word I'm speaking, comment right now, "Yes, Lord, I'm awake." Let heaven see that you're responding to the call. Because what I'm about to tell you next will reveal exactly what your body is preparing you for, and why November 20 marks the beginning of something you've been unknowingly training for your entire life. Listen to me very carefully, chosen one. What's happening in your head right now is not a medical emergency. It's a divine intervention. That forehead heaviness you've been carrying for the past 72 hours, that pressure behind your eyes that makes you want to close them even in broad daylight, that strange sensitivity to light that has you squinting at your own lamp like it's the sun at high noon. You thought something was wrong with you. You've been Googling symptoms. You've been worried. You've been afraid. But what if I told you that pressure isn't a tumor? What if I told you that heaviness isn't illness? What if I told you that the very thing that's been terrifying you is actually the fingerprint of God pressing into your consciousness? Your mind is being rewired by the Almighty Himself. You see, dear one, For decades you've been thinking with the same patterns, the same loops, the same limited circuits. You wake up worrying about the same things. You replay the same conversations in your head. You rehearse the same fears, the same doubts, the same questions that have haunted you since you were young. Your neural pathways have been carved so deep by repetition that your thoughts run in the same grooves like water in a canyon. But God is saying, enough. Right now, this very moment. Heaven is performing cognitive surgery on your brain. That fog you've been walking through, that's not dementia setting in. That's not your mind failing. That's the anesthesia of the Holy Spirit preparing you for a complete mental reconstruction. Think about this. When a building undergoes renovation, what happens first? They clear everything out. They strip it down to the foundation. It looks like chaos. It looks like destruction. But the architect knows something the onlookers don't. Demolition isn't the end, it's the beginning. Your mind is being cleared out to make room for something you've never carried before. In Romans 12:2, Paul didn't suggest mental renewal. He commanded it, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. But here's what most preachers won't tell you about that verse. The Greek word for transformed is metamorphou. It's where we get the word metamorphosis. This isn't a gentle adjustment. This is a caterpillar dissolving into liquid inside a cocoon before emerging as a butterfly. Your thoughts are dissolving right now. And you feel it, don't you? That mental fog that makes you forget why you walked into a room. That's not age. That's God erasing old programming. Those moments when you can't find the right words. That's not cognitive decline. That's heaven removing vocabulary that no longer serves your purpose. Those times when you space out in the middle of a conversation, that's not rudeness. That's divine distraction, while God installs new perspectives. But here's where it gets supernatural. Here's where science and spirituality collide in a way that will blow your mind wide open. Neuroscientists have discovered something extraordinary. Your brain has what they call neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire itself at any age. At 70, at 80, at 90. They used to think your brain was fixed after childhood, but they were wrong, dead wrong. Your brain can create new neural pathways, new connections, new circuits until the day you die. But what science calls neuroplasticity, I call divine rewiring. What they call cognitive restructuring, I call heavenly renovation. What they measure with brain scans, I recognize as the very hand of God reshaping your mind to carry what's coming next in your life. That pressure in your forehead, that's the weight of new wisdom being downloaded. That heaviness behind your eyes, that's prophetic vision being calibrated. That sensitivity to light, that's because your spiritual pupils are dilating to see into realms you've never accessed before. You're not losing your mind, beloved. You're gaining the mind of Christ. 1 Corinthians 2:16 declares, "We have the mind of Christ." But do you understand what that means? It means your thoughts are being replaced with His thoughts. Your perspectives are being exchanged for His perspectives. Your limited human understanding is being upgraded to divine intelligence. Your mind is downloading heaven's software one update at a time. And just like your computer slows down during a major update, just like your phone gets glitchy when it's installing new systems, your brain is experiencing temporary disruption during this massive spiritual upgrade. The fog will clear. The pressure will lift. But when it does, you won't think like you used to think. You won't see like you used to see. You won't understand like you used to understand. You'll think with the mind of God Himself. Look at how everything connects now. Your chest pressure, that's your spirit expanding. Your bone ache, that's your foundation being reinforced. Your sleep disruption, that's your schedule being synchronized with heaven's timing. And now this head pressure, this is the crown being fitted. This is the final piece of your total transformation. Your body is the evidence that heaven is touching earth in you. Every symptom you've experienced this week has been a breadcrumb leading you to this revelation. You're not falling apart. You're being reassembled according to divine blueprint. You're not deteriorating. You're being upgraded from human 1 to kingdom version 2. But I need you to do something right now that will activate this upgrade. I need you to stop resisting the pressure. Stop fighting the fog. Stop fearing the changes happening in your cognitive function. If you're feeling this head pressure right now, if your forehead is heavy as I'm speaking these words, if there's a weight behind your eyes that you can't explain, I want you to type these 5 words in the comments. I receive the upgrade. Not tomorrow, not later. Right now. Because your agreement activates what God is doing. Your declaration unlocks what heaven is downloading. Type it. I receive the upgrade. Because what's coming next will require this new mind. What God is preparing you for cannot be accomplished with old thinking patterns. The assignment on your life demands cognitive capacity you don't currently possess. But after this week, after this divine rewiring is complete, you're going to think thoughts that solve problems. You're going to have ideas that shift atmospheres. You're going to speak words that carry weight you've never carried before. The question is, will you trust the process while your mind is under construction? You want to know why everything feels like it's falling apart right now? Why relationships that seemed solid suddenly feel shaky? Why routines you followed for decades suddenly feel suffocating? Why emotions you thought you buried 20 years ago are rising to the surface like bodies from a flood? Because, beloved, God has initiated what I can only call a cosmic audit over your life. And the 20th of November 2025 is Audit Day. Listen to me carefully. An audit isn't an attack. An audit is an examination. It's when someone with authority looks at every single transaction, every entry, every hidden account, and says, "Show me the truth. Show me what's real and what's pretend. Show me what stays and what must go." Right now, as you sit there feeling like your entire world is being turned upside down, the Almighty is auditing your habits. He's examining your relationships. He's inspecting your routines. He's exposing misalignments you've been ignoring for years. And beloved, you can feel it in your bones because your body is the first witness to spiritual reconstruction. That's why your chest feels tight. That's why you can't sleep. That's why your own reflection looks like a stranger. Think about it. When was the last time you questioned whether the life you're living is actually the life you were called to live? When was the last time you looked at your daily routine and asked, "Is this still me, or is this just muscle memory from a version of myself that died 10 years ago?" God is asking those questions for you today, and your body is screaming the answers. Proverbs 16:2 cuts straight to the heart. All a person's ways seem pure to them, but motives are weighed by the Lord. You thought you were fine. You thought you were faithful. You thought you were doing everything right. But God doesn't measure your days by activity. He measures them by alignment. And beloved, when you're out of alignment, your body knows before your mind does. This is why outgrown identities are shedding off you like dead skin. That person you used to be, the one who said yes when you meant no, the one who carried everyone else's burdens while suffocating under your own, the one who played small to make others comfortable, that version of you is dying. And death always hurts before resurrection comes. You've been feeling it for weeks, haven't you? That strange sensation that you don't recognize yourself anymore. Your own thoughts sound foreign. Your own desires feel unfamiliar. You look at choices you made just 6 months ago and wonder, who was that person? That wasn't confusion, dear one. That was God stripping away who you were to prepare who you must become. But here's where it gets intense. Here's where the cosmic audit cuts deepest. Every unresolved relationship is being brought to the surface. Every unhealed wound is demanding attention. Every truth you've avoided is knocking on your door with the persistence of a bill collector who will not be ignored. You thought you forgave your sister, but last Tuesday her name crossed your mind and your stomach clenched. You thought you released that betrayal from 1987, but it showed up in your dreams 3 nights this week. You thought you made peace with your choices, but suddenly you're lying awake at 3 a.m. replaying conversations from 2 decades ago. This isn't torture, chosen one. This is purging. 2 Corinthians 5:17 declares, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here." But nobody tells you that the old doesn't leave quietly. It fights, it screams, it resurfaces one final time, demanding to be acknowledged before it can be released. What you're experiencing right now is that final confrontation. God is lifting the old floorboards of your soul to lay down new ones. And when you tear up floorboards that have been nailed down for 70 years, you're going to find things underneath. Dust, dirt, secrets. Things you forgot were there. Things you hoped would stay buried forever. But you can't build a solid foundation on top of rot. So God, in His infinite mercy and His sometimes brutal love, is exposing everything. He's pulling up every board. He's shining light into every corner. He's saying, "We're not covering this up anymore. We're not pretending anymore. We're not building new life on top of old death." And that's why your body feels like it's being torn apart from the inside out. Because it is. The heaviness you feel today isn't decline, it's divine restructuring. Think about what happens when they renovate an old building in Manhattan. They don't just paint the walls and call it done. They gut it. They tear out walls. They rip up floors. They expose the skeleton of the structure. And for months, that building looks worse than it did before they started. People walk past and say, "What a disaster. What a mess." But the architect knows something they don't. This mess is temporary. This destruction is purposeful. And when it's finished, what emerges will be stronger, more beautiful, more valuable than anything that was there before. You are that building, beloved. And November 20 is the day heaven brought in the demolition crew. Every habit God is exposing. Every misalignment He's uncovering. Every relationship He's testing. Every routine He's disrupting. It's all preparation. You're not falling apart. You're being rebuilt from the foundation up. But here's the question that will determine everything. Will you resist the renovation, or will you surrender to it? Because what's coming next will show you exactly what God is building in the space where your old self used to stand. Dear chosen one, something sacred is happening inside your body right now that has nothing to do with medicine and everything to do with eternity. While you've been sitting there wondering why your chest feels tight, why your mind won't settle, why memories you buried 40 years ago suddenly flood back at 2 a.m., heaven has been performing surgery. Not on your flesh, but on your spirit. And the incisions God is making tonight are opening 3 doors that have been sealed shut for decades. Listen to me carefully. These aren't metaphors. These are actual spiritual portals being unlocked in the chamber of your soul right now, on this exact Thursday in November. And what walks through these doors in the next 72 hours will determine whether you spend your remaining years in freedom or in the same prison you've been pacing for half a century. The first door is the door of memory. You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? That thing that happened when you were 19. That betrayal when you were 34. That loss when you were 57. You thought you'd dealt with it. You thought time had healed it. You convinced yourself that if you just didn't think about it, it would stay buried. But this week, it came back. Not as a passing thought, but as a full-color movie playing in your mind with sound effects and smells you haven't experienced in decades. You woke up angry at someone who's been dead for 15 years. You found yourself crying over a marriage that ended before your grandchildren were born. You felt the sting of words spoken to you in 1987 like they were whispered yesterday. And you thought you were losing your mind. No, beloved. God is opening the door of memory not to torment you, but to drain the infection. You see, some of you have been carrying wounds that never properly healed because you never properly felt them. You were too busy surviving to grieve, too busy being strong for your children to fall apart for yourself, too busy keeping up appearances at church to admit you were bleeding internally. Proverbs 14:10 says, "The heart knows its own bitterness, and no stranger shares its joy." Your heart has been keeping secrets even from you. But God your Father, who sees in secret, He knows every bruise you've been hiding beneath your smile. And tonight, He's saying enough. The door of memory is swinging open so that what you've been storing can finally be released. That ache in your chest, that's not a heart attack. That's your heart finally being given permission to acknowledge what it's been carrying alone. Those tears that won't stop. That's not weakness. That's poison leaving your system. But here's what will shake you. God isn't just opening old wounds randomly. He's reopening the exact wounds that have been blocking the very blessing He's trying to give you next. The second door is the door of recognition. Have you noticed something strange happening to your discernment this week? Suddenly you can sense when someone's lying to you. Suddenly you just know when something isn't right, even though everything looks fine on the surface. Suddenly you're seeing people's true motives with a clarity that almost frightens you. That's not paranoia, chosen one. That's prophecy activating. 1 Corinthians 2:15 declares, "The person with the Spirit makes judgments about all things." For years, maybe decades, you've been doubting your own intuition. You've let people gaslight you into thinking you were being too sensitive, too suspicious, too judgmental. You've overridden your own spiritual alerts to keep the peace, to be nice, to give people the benefit of the doubt. But God is done with you, playing small to make others comfortable. The door of recognition is opening because you're entering a season where you cannot afford to be fooled anymore. The people you've been tolerating, the situations you've been accepting, the compromises you've been making, heaven is giving you supernatural X-ray vision to see what's really happening beneath the surface. And some of you are terrified by what you're suddenly seeing. Your own daughter's bitterness, your son's deception. That friend you trusted, you can suddenly see they've been using you for years. That church you've attended for 30 years, you can suddenly feel the religious spirit choking out the Holy Spirit. This isn't you becoming cynical. This is you becoming clear. But with this gift comes a burden. Because now that you can see, you have to decide what you're going to do about it. You can't unsee what the door of recognition has shown you. You can't go back to comfortable ignorance. Truth has a weight to it, doesn't it? The third door is the door of revelation. And this one, beloved, this one is why hell has been fighting you so hard this week. The door of revelation is where God fixes what doctors couldn't heal, what counselors couldn't resolve, what time couldn't mend, and what you yourself gave up on years ago. Job 33:14-15 says, "For God does speak now one way, now another, though no one perceives it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on people as they slumber in their beds." Why do you think you can't sleep? Why do you think you're waking at 3 a.m. with your mind racing? Because God is downloading revelation into your spirit, while your conscious mind is finally quiet enough to receive it. That solution you've been praying for since 2003. It's coming through the door of revelation tonight. That answer you stopped asking for because you thought God wasn't listening. He's been preparing it this whole time, and the revelation of it is about to hit you like lightning. Some of you are going to wake up tomorrow morning with clarity about a situation that's confused you for 20 years. You're going to suddenly understand why that door closed, why that person left, why that dream died. And the understanding won't just bring peace, it will bring power. Because revelation doesn't just inform you, it transforms you. But here's what's going to mess with your theology. These 3 doors aren't opening because you finally got spiritual enough. They're opening because the 20th of November 2025 is a divine appointment that was scheduled before you were born. God doesn't operate on your timeline. He operates on His calendar. And on His calendar, today is marked as the day when the chosen ones stop wandering in confusion and start walking in clarity. These 3 doors, memory, recognition, revelation, they're swinging open right now whether you feel ready or not. But there is a 4th door. And what I'm about to tell you about this 4th door will explain why your body has been reacting so violently, why the spiritual warfare has been so intense, and why you absolutely cannot turn away from this message right now. Because the 4th door doesn't open from the outside. It opens from within. Dear chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. The moment your body started acting strange this week, the exact second that pressure built behind your eyes, the instant your chest tightened, the heartbeat, your sleep shattered at 3 a.m., a war began. Not a war you can see with human eyes. Not a battle that shows up on CNN or Fox News. I'm talking about a full-scale spiritual conflict that erupted in the heavenly realms the moment God decided you were ready for what's coming next. You thought it was just your body breaking down. You thought it was age catching up with you. You thought maybe you needed to change your medication or see another specialist. But what if I told you that every single physical symptom you've experienced since last Friday was actually a sign that heaven mobilized an army around you? Listen to what Ephesians 6:12 tells us. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Not flesh and blood, beloved. What's happening to your body right now isn't biological, it's spiritual warfare, disguised as physical symptoms. That pressure behind your eyes, that wasn't fatigue from watching too much television. That was God placing His hand over your spiritual vision, preparing you to see things you've never been able to see before. That heaviness pressing down on your chest at night, that wasn't anxiety or heart problems. That was your spirit being fitted with armor so thick that hell's arrows can't penetrate it anymore. You see, the enemy has been watching you. He's been monitoring your prayer life, tracking your faithfulness, counting how many times you've chosen God when choosing God made no logical sense. And when heaven decided to upgrade your assignment, when the Almighty looked at your file and said, "This one is ready for the next level," all of hell went on high alert. Picture this with me for a moment. Imagine Grand Central Station in Manhattan at rush hour. Thousands of people moving in every direction. Trains arriving and departing. Announcements echoing through the terminal. Chaos and order existing simultaneously. That's what the spiritual realm looks like right now around your life. Angels in motion, demonic forces scrambling, assignments shifting, destinies being recalibrated. 2 Kings 6:17 shows us this reality. When Elisha's servant panicked because enemy armies surrounded them, Elisha prayed, "Lord, open his eyes so he may see." And suddenly the servant saw what had been there all along the hills, full of horses and chariots of fire surrounding Elisha. The spiritual realm was more real, more active, more powerful than anything happening in the natural. Right now, your spiritual eyes are being opened, and your body is responding to what your spirit is beginning to perceive. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Here's the truth that will set you free from the fear that's been gripping your heart. Heaven didn't just watch your suffering from a distance. God didn't observe your sleepless nights and your unexplained pain and your confusion from some celestial throne room, taking notes but doing nothing. No, heaven mobilized because of what you've been going through. Every tear you've cried this week activated angels. Every prayer you whispered in the dark deployed spiritual reinforcements. Every time you said, "I trust you, God," when your body was screaming and your mind was questioning, you were actually giving heaven permission to move on your behalf in ways you couldn't see. Think about Daniel chapter 10. Daniel prayed, and for 21 days, 3 full weeks, nothing seemed to happen. But then an angel appeared and told him the shocking truth. Your words were heard from the first day you began to pray. I was sent immediately, but the prince of Persia resisted me for 21 days. Do you understand what that means? Daniel's prayer was answered instantly in heaven, but the manifestation was delayed because of warfare in the spiritual realm. And the same thing has been happening in your life. You've been praying for breakthrough. You've been crying out for understanding. You've been asking God why your body feels like it's betraying you. And heaven heard you the moment those prayers left your lips. But there's been a battle raging over the answer, over the manifestation, over the full revelation of what God is doing in you right now. Your physical symptoms aren't random. They're not meaningless. They're the evidence that something massive is being fought over in your life. The enemy is terrified of what you're about to become, so he's been trying to convince you that what you're feeling is just age, just illness, just the natural decline of a senior citizen who should be winding down. But God says you're not winding down. You're being wound up. You're not declining. You're being refined. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through into a dimension of spiritual authority you've never walked in before. Job 33:14-15 declares, "For God speaks once, yes twice, yet man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men while slumbering on their beds, God has been speaking to you through your body, through your disrupted sleep, through every strange sensation you couldn't explain to your doctor. And now the question that should be burning in your chest is this: if heaven has mobilized an army around me, if spiritual warfare has erupted because of what God is preparing me for, then what exactly is coming next that requires this level of divine intervention? Listen to me, chosen one. There are 3 doors most believers know about. The door of salvation. You walked through that when you gave your life to Christ. The door of provision God opened, that when He promised to supply all your needs. The door of healing, you've knocked on that 1 more times than you can count. But there's a 4th door. A door so sacred, so dangerous to the kingdom of darkness, that hell has spent your entire lifetime convincing you it doesn't exist. It's called the door of permission. And beloved, your body is reacting today because that door is cracking open for the first time in your life. You see, this door doesn't open from the outside. God won't kick it down. Angels won't pry it loose. This door has a handle on only one side. Your side. And it opens only when you finally recognize something heaven has known since before you were born. You are worthy of being used right now. At this age, in this body, with this history, let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How many decades have you spent believing you were too old? How many years have you whispered to yourself, "If only I had started earlier. If only I had more time. If only I was younger, stronger, sharper"? That voice wasn't wisdom. That was warfare. The enemy has been standing outside your 4th door for 70, 80, maybe 90 years, whispering the same poison. You're expired. You're irrelevant. You're too late. Because he knows something you're just now beginning to remember. When a chosen one finally gives God permission to move through them without limitation, without hesitation, without the chains of "I'm too old" kingdoms shift. Think about Moses. Exodus 7:7 tells us he was 80 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. 80. The world would have put him in a nursing home. But God said, "Now you're ready. Now you've lived long enough to know that this isn't about your strength. It's about my glory." Or consider Caleb. Joshua 14:10-11 records his words at 85 years old. "I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out." I'm just as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then. Now give me this hill country, not give me a rocking chair, not give me peace and quiet. Give me the mountain, give me the giants, give me the impossible. These weren't young men with unlimited energy. These were seasoned warriors who had finally stopped asking God for permission and started giving God permission. Do you see the difference? Most believers spend their whole lives begging God to use them. Please, Lord, use me, send me, open a door for me, but God has been waiting for something else entirely. He's been waiting for you to open the door from your side. He's been waiting for you to stop seeing yourself as the world sees you and start seeing yourself as heaven sees you. You are not a retired has-been. You are a commissioned general. You are not fading into irrelevance. You are stepping into your finest hour. You are not too tired to be used. You are finally tired enough of being overlooked that you're ready to roar. The door of permission swings open the moment you whisper these words from the depths of your spirit. God, I give you permission to use me exactly as I am. Use my age. Use my scars. Use my story. Use my 70 years of watching. You be faithful. I'm done making excuses. I'm done hiding behind. I'm too old. I'm yours. Move through me. That's not a prayer, beloved. That's a declaration of war against every limitation hell ever spoke over your life. And the moment you speak it, something shifts in the spiritual realm. Heaven leans in. Angels take position. The Holy Spirit begins to move through your body in ways you haven't felt in decades, because you just gave the Creator of the universe unrestricted access to your remaining years. This is why your body has been reacting today. This is why your chest feels tight, why your bones ache with holy weight, why you can't shake the sense that something monumental is happening. The fourth door is cracking open, and your physical frame is responding to the spiritual pressure of what's about to pour through. But here's what will shock you. The enemy didn't fear you when you were young and energetic. He fears you now, because youth has passion, but age has proof. Youth has dreams, but age has testimony. Youth has potential, but age has the kind of faith that only comes from watching God show up again and again and again when everything looked impossible. You've buried spouses. You've survived diagnoses. You've weathered financial storms that would have destroyed lesser souls. You've watched children walk away and come back. You've seen prayers answered after decades of waiting. You carry something in your spirit that cannot be taught in seminary or learned from books. You carry the authority of experience. And when that authority finally gives God permission to move without restriction, the gates of hell tremble. So let me ask you the question that will determine everything that happens next in your life. Are you ready to stop asking God if He can still use you and start telling Him He has permission to use you? Are you ready to fling open that fourth door and say, "Here I am, Lord, old body, tired bones, scarred heart, but yours, completely yours"? Because, beloved, the moment you type those 4 words in the comments, "Open my fourth door," you're not just interacting with a video. You're making a covenant with heaven. You're declaring that your age is not your limitation but your qualification. You're announcing that your best days aren't behind you, they're beginning right now. The fourth door is cracking open. The question is, will you step through it, or will you spend your remaining years wondering what could have been? Beloved, let me ask you something that's going to shake you to your core. Do you really think it's a coincidence that your body started acting up exactly when it did? Do you honestly believe that the universe, that God Himself operates on random chaos? Because if you do, you've been lied to. Thursday, the 20th of November 2025, is not just another date on your calendar. This is what the ancient scriptures call the fullness of time. Galatians 4:4 declares, "But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth His Son." Did you catch that? The fullness of time. Not when it was convenient, not when humanity was ready, But when every celestial wheel, every prophetic clock, every divine mechanism clicked into perfect alignment. And right now, chosen one, you are living in your fullness of time. 3 days ago, Mercury stationed direct after weeks of retrograde motion. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Pastor, are you talking about astrology? No, I'm talking about God's cosmic order. The same God who set the sun, moon, and stars in their courses didn't create a chaotic universe. He created a synchronized symphony. And when the heavenly bodies shift, your earthly body responds because you were made from the dust of stars and the breath of the Almighty. This is why your sleep shattered. This is why your chest tightened. This is why memories you buried 40 years ago suddenly surfaced last Tuesday like bodies rising from a flood. You see, during Mercury retrograde, everything went backward. Communications broke down. Technology failed. Relationships that seemed solid suddenly cracked. But here's what nobody told you about the post-retrograde period. This is when the bill comes due. This is when all that cosmic rewiring, all that spiritual recalibration, all that divine rerouting finally hits your physical frame. Think about the New York subway system. You're standing on the platform at Grand Central, waiting for your train. Suddenly, the loudspeaker crackles. Attention passengers, due to track maintenance, trains are being rerouted. On the surface, it's chaos, frustration, confusion. Why now? Why today? But underground, in the tunnels you can't see, workers are fixing what's broken. They're realigning what went off course. They're preparing the tracks for trains that haven't even been built yet. That's your body right now. That's your spirit in this moment. You think it's breaking down, but God is rerouting you for a destination you haven't even imagined. Ecclesiastes 3:1 puts it plainly. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. Not some purposes, every purpose. Your arthritis flaring up, that has a season. Your emotional breakdown at 2 a.m., that has a time. Your sudden inability to tolerate people you've known for decades. Beloved, that has a divine purpose you're just beginning to understand. But here's where it gets urgent. Here's where I need you to lean in close. November 20 marks the convergence of 3 massive spiritual shifts happening simultaneously. First, the post-retrograde recalibration is completing its cycle. Second, we're entering the season when emotional memories resurface with prophetic intensity, unfinished business from your past, demanding resolution. Third, and this is the one that should make your spirit tremble, the angelic realm is realigning specifically for senior destinies. Did you hear what I just said? For senior destinies. You thought your assignment was over. You thought God was winding you down, putting you out to pasture, preparing you for the rocking chair and the retirement home. But what if I told you that everything you've experienced in your 70, 80, 90 years on this earth was preparation for an assignment so massive that it required a lifetime of refining? Moses was 80 when the burning bush spoke. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over the Messiah. You are not aging out of your calling, you are aging into your authority. But this alignment, this divine synchronization, this fullness of time doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't pause because you're confused or tired or scared. The train is leaving the station, beloved, and you're either on it or you're watching it disappear into the tunnel. Your body knows this. That's why it's screaming. Your spirit recognizes this. That's why you can't sleep. Your soul feels this. That's why you can't shake the sense that something monumental is happening, even though you can't see it with your natural eyes. The cosmic alignment of November 20 is complete. The tracks have been rerouted. The fullness of time has arrived. But the next shift, the next phase of what God is doing in your physical body and your spiritual calling, beloved, that hasn't even begun yet. And what I'm about to reveal next We'll explain exactly what's coming in the days ahead and how your body is preparing you for it right now. Beloved chosen one, as we close this sacred moment together, remember 3 eternal truths that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, what's happening to your body on Thursday, the 20th of November 2025 is not random, it's divine alignment. Your sleepless nights, your unexplained aches, that heaviness in your chest, these aren't signs of decline. They're evidence that heaven is recalibrating your physical frame for a spiritual assignment bigger than anything you've imagined. Your body isn't breaking down, it's being broken open. Second, this cosmic realignment is specifically timed for you. Moses was 80 when God called him from the burning bush. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over the Messiah. Your age isn't your limitation, it's your qualification. Every year, every scar, every battle has been preparing you for this fullness of time. Third, you are not alone. The God who formed you in the womb is still working in your life right now. Romans 8:28 promises that all things, even this confusion, even this discomfort, work together for good. And beyond God's presence, you have a community here. Thousands of chosen ones experiencing the same shifts, walking the same path, ready to pray with you. So let me ask you this. If your body is speaking heaven's language, if this moment is your divine appointment, what will you do with this awakening? Drop a comment below. Tell us what you're experiencing. Ask for prayer. Share your testimony. Your words might be exactly what another chosen one needs to hear. And please, share this message with someone struggling with unexplained symptoms. They need to know they're not alone. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. We're building a movement of awakened souls who refuse the world's explanations when heaven offers divine revelation. Thank you for staying until the end. Thank you for opening your heart. Now let me pray over you. Prayer of alignment. Heavenly Father, I lift up every soul hearing these words. Touch their bodies right now, that tight chest, that restless mind, that aching back. Let them feel your presence like a warm blanket over their weary frames. Give them revelation to see what you're doing. This isn't breakdown, it's breakthrough. This isn't ending, it's beginning. Remind those who feel forgotten that their names are engraved on your palms. Show those who feel too old that Moses started at 80. Align their bodies with their calling. Let every ache become awakening, every discomfort become divine direction. Protect them from fear. Surround them with peace that surpasses understanding. Let them sleep tonight, knowing that while they rest, you're working. Bless their families, provide for their needs. Open doors no man can shut. Give them divine connections and holy appointments that confirm everything you've spoken today. Use their story, Lord. Let their transformation become testimony, their healing become hope, their breakthrough become a blueprint for others. In Jesus' name, who knows what it means to have a body that ached for divine purpose, I seal this prayer. Let your will be done. Let your kingdom come through their obedience. Amen. Now go, beloved. Your body is speaking, heaven is listening, and your fullness of time has arrived. Walk in peace, knowing you are chosen, called, and never alone. Your cathedral is under renovation, and the master builder never leaves a project unfinished. Be blessed, chosen one. Until we meet again.